Terry Bollea, also known as Hulk Hogan, was experiencing a serious medical-related issue.
Everyone thinks they know how Hulk Hogan died. A heart attack, 71 years old. Decades of punishment in the ring finally caught up with him. Case closed, but here is the catch. 3 days before his heart stopped, someone called his private phone from an untraceable burner. The conversation lasted 58 seconds. Investigators have never identified the caller. And within hours of that call, the man who once bodied giants became paranoid, agitated, and terrified of everyone around him. When FBI agents searched his mansion after his death, they found a sealed chamber beneath his house that not even his own children knew existed.
We will not be answering any questions, but we will provide additional information when it becomes available.
Inside were private journals, medication logs, and files classified as undisclosed items of interest. This is not the story the world was told. This is what really happened to Hulk Hogan. The moment everything changed. Brooke Hogan was mid-sentence when she heard it. A sharp exhale, then nothing. Then the unmistakable thud of 270 pounds hitting hardwood floor. She screamed into the phone. No response.
You know what? It was a weird call to get in a weird time in life. My dad and I always had a really good relationship. But it was kind of like I was seeing two sides.
Just the hollow echo of an open line and, somewhere in the distance, the crash of a glass shattering against tile. Within 12 minutes, paramedics burst through the front doors of Hogan's Clearwater mansion. The smell of fresh coffee still hung in the air. A half-eaten plate of eggs sat cooling on the kitchen counter. But near the entrance to his private gym, the 71-year-old wrestling legend lay face down on the polished wood, skin already turning gray. First responders dropped to their knees, chest compressions sending dull thuds echoing through the vaulted ceilings. The defibrillator whined, then discharged with a sharp crack. Nothing. He was rushed to Morton Plant Hospital and pronounced dead at 11:17 that morning. The official cause, acute myocardial infarction, a heart attack.
We now know the cause of death for Hulk Hogan.
The professional wrestler died of a heart attack. He was pronounced dead at the hospital less than 90 minutes after medics arrived at his home.
But here is the catch. Beneath the heart failure lay two conditions Hogan had hidden from the public for years: leukemia and atrial fibrillation. Silent battles he had fought while projecting invincibility to the world. The news broke before noon. Within hours, headlines screamed across every platform.
Breaking news, and we're hearing just in the last few minutes that the professional wrestling and entertainment star Hulk Hogan has died in the US.
Fans wept. Wrestlers posted tributes. Outside his Clearwater home, candles and flowers piled against the iron gates as reporters swarmed, hungry for answers. But answers were exactly what no one was getting. When the cracks appeared, the official story held for exactly 48 hours. Then it began to collapse. Brooke Hogan was among the first to challenge the narrative. "My dad was getting stronger," she told reporters, her voice cracking. He'd been walking again after surgery, eating clean, training light. He wasn't dying. Close friends echoed her disbelief. They described a man who had been focused, optimistic, recovering from a neck operation just weeks earlier. Not someone teetering on the edge of cardiac failure. Then came the silence that made everything worse. When journalists pressed Clearwater General for details about Hogan's treatment, the hospital refused to comment. Requests for the attending doctor's name went unanswered. Questions about his medications were ignored. The wall of silence only amplified the growing suspicion. Within days, headlines shifted from mourning to accusation. One outlet claimed post-surgical complications had been deliberately downplayed.
So first, according to Hogan's widow, Sky Daly, this is per reporting from TMZ Sports and the New York Post, there may have been a mistake during a recent surgery.
Another reported secret consultations with alternative pain specialists. A third cited unnamed sources describing heated disagreements between Hogan's family and his medical team. Online forums exploded. If Hogan was recovering, why was he alone that morning? Why did no one notice warning signs? And why did the official report fail to mention his underlying conditions? Grief was curdling into something else entirely: suspicion. What they found beneath the house. The search warrant came 5 days after his death. Detectives arrived at Hogan's mansion before dawn, their flashlight beams cutting through the pre-morning darkness. Every room was photographed, every drawer opened, phones confiscated, medical records seized. Even the security system was dissected, frame by frame. But the real discovery waited below. Beneath the main level of the house, hidden behind a reinforced steel door that had been painted to match the basement walls, investigators found a room that no one in Hogan's family knew existed. The lock had to be cut with industrial bolt cutters. The hinges groaned as the door swung open, releasing the stale, musty air of a space that had been sealed for years. Inside, filing cabinets lined the walls, private journals filled with Hogan's handwriting, intimate letters, and medication logs arranged meticulously by date, some entries circled in red ink, others crossed out entirely. But here is the catch. Several items were immediately classified by investigators as undisclosed items of interest. Files that pointed to private matters Hogan had kept hidden, possibly from his family, possibly from people who wanted them. Had Hogan been protecting his legacy, or was he shielding something far more dangerous? The narrative of the invincible wrestler was cracking wide open. If this mystery is pulling you in, subscribe now so you don't miss what investigators discovered next. Because what they found in those files changed everything. The family that fractured. To understand Hulk Hogan's final days, you have to understand the war being fought inside his own home. In the months before his death, the legendary wrestler had become a different man.
I started getting better and better and better, and it was a gradual change for me to get correct.
Insiders described growing tension, heated arguments about trust, safety, and control. The patriarch who once held his family together was now driving them apart. His personal life had been turbulent for decades. His first marriage to Linda Claridge, once considered unbreakable, ended in a brutal public divorce after 24 years. The settlement drained his finances and left him emotionally gutted. He remarried Jennifer McDaniel, hoping for peace. That marriage collapsed too. Then came Sky Daly, his third wife, the woman he called his fresh start.
I'm not real good. I'm not real good with relationships, but this new marriage I have, my wife is a believer of my Lord and Savior, so we are right on track and perfectly synced
Very
up.
cool. Very cool.
But Hogan's family never accepted her. His daughter Brooke challenged the marriage openly. Phone calls between father and daughter grew shorter, colder, more distant. Then came the revelation that shattered everything. After Hogan's death, his will was unsealed. Brooke Hogan, his only daughter, had been cut out completely. Every asset, all $5 million, went to his son alone. The loving father-daughter bond that once defined him had been erased with a signature. What had happened between them? And did those fractured relationships have anything to do with the paranoia that consumed his final weeks? The call no one can explain. 3 days before Hulk Hogan collapsed, his phone rang. The call lasted 58 seconds. When it ended, everything changed. His wife Sky described the transformation. One moment, Hogan was composed, steady himself. The next, he was pacing the halls, checking locks, peering through blinds at shadows that weren't there. Friends who visited in those final days saw a man they barely recognized. The confidence was gone. In its place, a raw vulnerability none of them had ever witnessed. Investigators traced the call to a burner phone. No registered owner, no digital trail, complete anonymity. Audio analysts examined every voicemail on his phone from that period, searching for threats, blackmail, anything that might explain the sudden shift. They found nothing conclusive. This changes everything, because whoever made that call knew exactly how to disappear. And whatever was said in those 58 seconds transformed one of the most fearless men in entertainment history into someone who trusted no one. Was it a business dispute spiraling into threats? A personal matter being weaponized? Or something connected to the secrets hidden in that basement chamber? The caller has never been identified, and the content of that conversation remains unknown. Between healing and harm, 2 months before his death, Hogan underwent high-risk neck surgery. The procedure, a cervical discectomy and fusion, was supposed to repair nerve damage that had plagued him for years. Decades of wrestling had compressed his spine, leaving him in constant pain. But the surgery didn't go as planned. His phrenic nerve was damaged during the operation.
It's being reported that an occupational therapist who was apparently at Hulk's house, who was present at Hogan's Clearwater, Florida home when he stopped breathing, told police on the scene that a surgeon severed his phrenic nerve during a recent surgery.
The result was difficulty swallowing and breathing, complications that would have been manageable in a younger body. But Hogan's body had already endured dozens of surgeries, years of wear, and the accumulated toll of a career built on physical destruction. When investigators searched his home, they found something troubling. Prescription painkillers, consistent with his surgery, but also unlabeled vials, unidentified supplements, substances that didn't match any official prescription. The toxicology report confirmed elevated levels of certain compounds that shouldn't have been there. But here is the catch. Medical examiners couldn't determine whether the dangerous combinations were accidental or intentional. A slight miscalculation in dosage, a deadly interaction between prescribed medication and unauthorized supplements. Any of these could have placed fatal strain on his already weakened heart. The official report was careful but explicit. Medical error could not be ruled out. This wasn't murder, but it might have been something almost as dark: negligence. The brick wall. After weeks of investigation, detectives assembled their findings. The Hogan estate showed no signs of forced entry. Every door and window had been secured from inside. No evidence of struggle, no defensive wounds. If someone had harmed Hulk Hogan, they hadn't done it with their hands. The toxicology pointed toward a medical explanation: dangerous drug interactions, possible dosage errors, a heart already weakened by leukemia and atrial fibrillation pushed past its limits.
We learned that not only did he have atrial fibrillation, this is a heart condition causing irregular and rapid heart rhythm, but he also had been battling cancer. He was battling chronic lymphocytic leukemia. This is a type of cancer that affects white blood cells.
But the untraceable phone call refused to fit. someone had contacted Hogan from a burner phone 3 days before his death. That person has never been identified. And the effect of that conversation, the paranoia, the fear, the sudden personality shift, remains unexplained. The official conclusion, cardiac arrest. But internally, investigators recommended 2 paths forward. A more sophisticated toxicological analysis to determine exactly how the drugs interacted, and deep background checks on every person connected to Hogan's medical care and inner circle. The case file was marked closed for the public, but it was never truly finished. Hulk Hogan spent his life convincing the world he was invincible. In the ring, he absorbed a punishment that would have broken ordinary men. Outside it, he survived scandals, divorces, and financial ruin. He always got back up. But in his final weeks, something changed. The man who feared nothing became afraid of everyone. The legend who trusted his instincts stopped trusting anyone at all. His death was ruled a heart attack. The evidence supports that conclusion. But one question remains unanswered. Who called Hulk Hogan from that untraceable phone? What did they say in those 58 seconds? And why has that person never come forward? Until someone answers, the full truth of what happened in that Clearwater mansion stays buried. Subscribe and hit the bell, because the next mystery we uncover might be the one that finally connects the dots.